Hi. So this is Kat, the director of Vietnam Animal Aid and Rescue. Um, for the past few days, we've been dealing with the slow decline of my own dog, Poncho, who I brought from the United States to Vietnam 6 years ago. A move that I didn't consider at the time to be such a horrible idea. I also didn't plan on staying in Vietnam more than 6 months. I was really just there as a stopover to kind of enjoy the beach and relax after a really cold year in Mongolia. Really, and so I brought him, and he was happy. And I brought him and my cat Changus from Mongolia. And in my head, I thought, of course, there's going to be vets. There's vets everywhere. Like I had a great American vet in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia who took care of my cat Changus when we were there, and it didn't occur to me that other developing countries have such horrible problems with vets and such a really undeveloped system of veterinary medicine. Um, I learned that quite quickly in Vietnam, however, and my first rescue there was a monkey. He was a stump-tailed macaque that was um, severely malnourished, and it was a horrible, horrible situation. I rescued him, and then I turned him over to the authorities for release. That's a whole long story. Anyway, I learned very quickly that the vets can't tell their ass from a hole in the ground, and that's my mother's saying that. I don't know where she got that. It must be some Southern American thing, but it very much describes the experience I've had with local veterinarians in Vietnam. And I want to point out that it's not for a lack of care by any means. Um, I think sometimes I say things on Facebook that sound a little bit like I think they're just morons and assholes, and I don't find that to be true at all. And yeah, I'm gonna swear a little bit because my dog just died. Um, if that's a problem, please go f yourself. So anyway, the problem is not that they don't care. The problem is that the education system very clearly pushes people away from critical thinking, pushes people away from scientific knowledge, pushes people away from um, just a general understanding of medicine and human biology for that matter, much less um, veterinary medicine. So, um, you know, the reason I started the vet clinic was because of the horrible things that I saw in vet clinics in Vietnam, and in the process of doing rescue and having to take animals in for simple things like sterilization, and watching the most experienced vet in Da Nang do a C-section without anesthesia. That's one of my best examples that people can really connect with. But I've seen many other problems that I honestly can't even describe anymore. It's like I've been in Europe now for over 2 months, and I've realized that people here don't have a clue what we deal with in Vietnam, and I can't explain to them. I can tell you story after story, and you're not gonna get it. So if you live in the United States or Europe or Australia, and you have not, if you've never lived in a developing country with a veterinary system like in Vietnam, I'm not going to explain what I've seen, and you're not going to understand why I started the vet clinic and why it was so important. So today we lost Poncho, not because something couldn't have been done um, in veterinary medicine. I don't believe that what went on with him was inevitable. He apparently had tumors in his mouth, which were not discovered, but even if they, even after being discovered, he was already so weak, and We couldn't get him on a plane. The only way to get him any veterinary treatment is to get him on a fucking airplane to Hanoi. If you've ever had an animal that you can only get veterinary treatment for by flying them to another city, then you understand where I'm at right now. If not, congrats. Don't leave where you are. So the vet clinic closed a year ago. It's been a year now. And I can tell you that it's been, I don't know, probably the worst year of my life. And I've had some pretty shitty years, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Losing the vet clinic has put all of our animals in danger. And I love all those animals like my family. I have seen them go through so much. And, you know, seen so many others that even with the vet clinic that I started, we couldn't help, but we gave them a fighting chance that no other vet clinic ever could in Central Vietnam. In the history of Central Vietnam, we were the best bet they ever had. And we lost the clinic due to a lot of reasons. One of them was that our vet intern, on the day that we were signing the lease on the new clinic, decided she wanted to do it all by herself. And I can't explain that. And I don't speak to her anymore, obviously. I think that's not necessary. But that's over. Dan, our other vet, I thought it was best that he did not stay in Vietnam to work. The work had eventually become too much, I would say. Being a vet in Central Vietnam, I'll admit, is a nightmare that you can't wake up from. It's shit. I don't in any way have any ill feelings toward him for feeling the way he did about working there. And the fact that, no, we didn't pay him, and no, he didn't get any time off, really. I mean, it was a constant stress. It was, you know, going from working in the UK half the year to working in Vietnam where we had hardly any supplies. Everything is a struggle. The kind of cases you run into are in-your-face trauma. It's like a war zone some days, and at some point that gets to you. I don't get the opportunity to leave, get on a plane, and go. I'm sitting here in Oslo right now, frankly, only because I'm dog sitting, and I get the police for free as a result, and because my shelter managers Beata and Ludwig are there in Hoi An and able to take care of things, and I can't thank them enough. They were there for Poncho's last moments, and they had to make that decision, and we were trying to communicate with each other this whole time about what to do about him, and and in the end the answer is that we can't help them. I've gotten a lot of shit for choosing that house in Hanoi. Okay? And I want you to know why I've done that. And I need you to understand that unless you have lived in Vietnam, and in Central Vietnam in particular, and have to go to vets where you know that they can't tell the difference between an antibiotic and a steroid, the only thing they can do for you is put your animal to sleep, and frankly, those drugs are fucking illegal. I think if you haven't lived that, I need you to just trust me. Yeah, and trust my experience. The reason I got the place in Hanoi is because it's the only place that we can get help for those animals. I just had to have my dog put to sleep for something that wouldn't have killed him if he were already in Hanoi. Yeah, but the struggle that we have to barely keep the animals fed is real. Yeah, and we can't pay our staff. The only reason I'm able to even get away from that nightmare is because of them, and I can't even help them get food because we don't get enough donations for that. Let me tell you what kind of stress that is. Or maybe let's not. I'm not even going to talk about it because honestly, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what they go through. You don't know. And frankly, most people just don't trust what we do because they've never experienced that, because they live in a place where shit fucking works. And they couldn't conceptualize the life of being in Central Vietnam, knowing that your animals that you wake up to every day, these rescues that you have gone through hell to keep alive and safe from dog thieves and dog catchers, and from the general disease and filth and trauma that so many animals go through in that place, that something simple could kill them. Because we're not someplace where somebody has gone to a veterinary school where they actually get to touch animals, learn about anesthesia, learn something called aseptic surgical procedure, which means you don't put your filthy hands inside of an animal. Yeah? That's in Hanoi. It's not in Hoi An. So when I got that house in Hanoi, it was because I wake up to animals every day that are my family, and they don't get an option to not die there right now. So right now, as I'm talking to you, they're digging a hole for my baby, my Chihuahua, who I rescued in Alabama because I couldn't help him. Because we can't get to Hanoi to get them to real veterinarians. And I'm only angry at myself because I brought him there. And that I couldn't get the money to keep that vet clinic open, and I couldn't get functional, reliable, educated adult staff. I say adult with a stress on it. Because we don't have a lot of those in Vietnam. We have a lot of people posing as them, but we don't seem to have a whole lot of people that you can rely on and act like mature, hardworking, educated, functional adults. And that's my fault. So I'm asking anybody that can help us get the hell out of Hoi An and adopt some of these animals to get them out of that country. Please help. Yeah. So I go to London on Wednesday, and I'm going to do anything. I don't have any limits at this moment as to what I will do to get the money to get those animals out of Hoi An. You don't know desperation like I know. Yeah? We've worked really hard, and I say we, I, and many others that have come through that organization, have seen what I have seen, and know what I know about how difficult it is to work there. We have gone through a lot. And we aren't giving up. But we need to get them out of a place that is unsafe for them. Because that's the priority. The priority is not taking every animal off the street because they, frankly, cannot be helped there. Without a clinic, without vets, you cannot rescue responsibly. And if you think you can, oh, live a day in my shoes. You can't. That's why I started it. It's probably why I lost it too. So please, please help if you can. I know we're really far away and it doesn't really mean anything to people on the other side of the planet. And they would rather do things like end the dog meat trade, which is frankly fucking impossible. And yeah, those big organizations that you're shelling out the money to aren't gonna do diddly shit to change that. So I wish you luck. But these are real animals that have been rescued and are in need of a life outside of that. And our programs are going to be long-term, high impact for many more animals than any organization that claims to end the dog meat trade could ever possibly touch. Yeah. So help us out, please. Sorry for the blatant honesty. I'll be sure to send you guys some happy, fluffy crap another day. Today's not the day when I couldn't save my dog. Nobody could, right?